There, we're going to prep a barrel today to make a steamer barrel. So what I have over here on the workbench is the tools I'm going to use. I've got a pretty big drill, and I've got a series of drill bits, small, medium, large. When we're drilling through the steel barrel, we're going to start with the small drill and then work our way up, and then move to a step drill to drill it out for the punch. And then we're going to use, I've got a punch set here from Harbor Freight, and we're going to use these knockout punches to make the right size holes in the barrel for the bulkhead fittings. Alright, okay, I've got my barrel here with the bulkheads laid out. We're going to put the large bulkhead down below. You want to space it up off the bottom as close as you can get to the bottom, but you have to be able to tighten the nut on the backside. So I like to go about 2 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of the barrel. The float valve is going to sit above that, but we're going to position it off to the side, and I'll show you when we lay that out. So it has to be off to the side so it clears the heater element. And then we have the upper fitting for the thermocouple, and we've got to put it up here and deal with this bump. So I put it just below that bump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out some marks, and I'm going to drill some pilot holes for the punch. Alright, I've laid out some marks here. I put some blue tape on the barrel so we can see it for the video, but normally I just mark right on the barrel and you can see the Sharpie marks. So this is for my bottom bulkhead. It's 2 3/4 inches up off the bottom of the barrel. So that's where I'm going to put the bulkhead. And then for the float valve, I'm going to be 5 inches up off the barrel and 5 inches this way. All right, that gives us clearance against the heater element. And then our top bulkhead is going to be straight above the bottom bulkhead, just below the bump in the barrel. So that's how we're going to lay out our barrel. So now I'm going to drill the pilot holes. Okay, now I've drilled pilot holes up to 1/2 inch in diameter. That's as big as my drill truck will go. And now I'm going to switch to the step drill. So for the float valve hole, I'm simply going to enlarge this up to the size of the float valve fitting. I don't want to go any bigger. This one I'm going to go up to the size of the punch shank. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, I've drilled out my holes to the right sizes with the step drill. So this, for the float valve, that's the final size. So I'm not going to mess with that anymore. Let me put that down. So for the other 2 holes, I've drilled it out so the shank of my punch set fits in these holes. So now we're going to get the punch together and we'll punch the 2 large holes. Okay, I've set my punch up. I'm using the hydraulic punch set from Harbor Freight, but they make manual ones that you tighten with a wrench also. You'll sweat. Anyway, so you've got the die and the punch, and the way this works is we're going to take the punch off, and we're going to insert this into the barrel and put our punch on the outside. And we're going to tighten this all the way down. So I've got the punch installed, it's all tightened all the way down, and I've got the hydraulics hooked up, and all I have to do over here is give this a few pumps. And there's our nice clean hole. And so we'll do that on the bottom one as well. So I put my barrel up on the workbench to get that last hole punched. So I got nice punched holes and my float valve hole. One thing I didn't show you is I go on the inside with the step drill and clean up the burr. I don't actually enlarge the hole, I just let it cut the burr off. So now I'm all punched and ready to go, and I'm going to install the bulkheads. Okay, now I've got my bulkheads installed, and that's the outside of the float valve. This is a pipe thread, so now we're gonna, actually it's a straight thread, but a pipe thread fitting will fit on that, so we can put a connector for our water line, like a push to connect connector, and then use 1/4 inch white poly tubing. Anyway, and we got our top fitting installed as well. Here's the inside of the barrel with our float valve. The float valve goes up and down. It just touches the bottom of the barrel. Depending on the float valve you get, you may need to bend the shaft a little bit to tune it. I think these will work as is though. So that's what the inside looks like. Now we'll put our false bottom supports in. So they just go together pretty simple like this. And we're going to lower that into the bottom of the barrel. So this is what the false bottom supports look like in the bottom of the barrel. And so now we can set our false bottom on that. And that gets it ready for the rest of the connections. So now that the false bottom's in and we're getting ready to get things set up here, we're going to install our heater element. So we're going to put the silicone gasket on there, and it's got a little groove that you line up with the tri-clamps. Hard to do this one-handed, but there we go. And then we put the tri-clamp clamp on there, and now we've installed our heater element. So there's that. And then you'll have a top fitting element that's going to have our probe pre-installed into it. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put that in the top setup. So that's how we would build and configure the steamer barrel.